Apparently, they don't want to be this close.
Keep your hands raised, or else.
Keep your hands raised. Come on, put them up, guys. You don't have one. You know, you don't get to go forward with the seat. We're trying to have a civilization.
What?
Can you text
Yeah, I
us?
saw him down there.
You saw him down there?
I mean, I couldn't find him. Like, he wasn't by the booth. He was not at our
I'm
booth.
serious. No one made me the seat
Matt's
sheriff
texting.
of the
You're-
house.
you're
You go
texting, right,
ahead.
Matt?
Seat sheriff.
Okay, let's see if it's time to say.
Excellent.
Hey,
Nancy Sinatra.
Yeah.
I haven't heard
That
from
kind
her.
of crowd.
It is. All right.
Okay, well, hand them out when you're ready.
Well, no, they're for me. I was just asking you.
I appreciate it.
How you doing?
You know what? Let me give you the Jeff Lemire slide.
Do you want to cut me one?
I'm eating one of these.
Okay, you know what? We're waiting for a couple of people, but time is precious here, so let's get it rolling. You guys came here to see some DC stuff, right? All right. That's great, because we got plenty of DC stuff. This is the DC All Access panel, and All Access means that we cram all of our stuff into this one quick panel. We've got some DCU stuff, we've got some Vertigo stuff, we've got some of the digital first stuff that we're doing. We're going to get it all in here in 1 hour. The podium's going to get nice and crowded. We're going to have plenty of slides, and we're going to get rolling. Okay. Before I say that, before we move on to the next, I just want to let you know that we love Emerald City Con. You guys are great. The show is terrific. The people who work here are great. We enjoy the show every year, and we're going to come back for as often as we can. Okay, this is my first time working the slides, so bear with me. 75 years ago, almost to the day, today, March 30th, 1939, Detective 27 hit the newsstands. So we are kicking off Batman's 75th anniversary as of today. We put out a press release yesterday, so you guys are here on the ground floor of Batman's 75th anniversary. We're going to be doing a lot of great things throughout the year. We've got Batman Day. Am I allowed to say that? Where's Brandy? Batman Day, July 23rd at various comic shops and libraries around the country. So it's going to be that's going to be one thing that's going to be a lot of fun. Okay? So mark your calendars now. July 23rd, Batman Day. Also, there's our press release is on the DC website. That'll list all the some of the fun stuff that we'll be doing. Okay. Also, this T-shirt is available at the Graffiti Designs booth, 1804, for sale. Okay. One of the great things we are doing, Batman related this year, is the new weekly series. Yes, I said weekly. Batman Eternal. We talked about this a little bit this morning, but this is a book by Scott Snyder and a whole bunch of other people. Scott, you want to tell us a little bit about? I'm sorry, there's a lot of names.
And the rest.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about it, Scott, and you can tell us some of the other people who are working on it too.
Yeah, sure. And every day is Batman Day, Larry. Just the way it is. Right? Yeah, Batman Eternal, it launches in just 2 weeks. We're really excited about it. It's the first weekly series any of us on the book have been part of. And when it was proposed to us by DC, they told us they wanted a weekly series, a Batman series, and they thought we would each do sort of 5 pages of an issue, and it would be kind of modular. And but they said that if we wanted to do a different way, they would let us. And the great thing was, I got to go back with James Tynan, who I work with on Batman, and come up with a story. And we thought the only reason to do it, and we were going to say no, honestly, but the only reason to do it was if we could come up with a story that would fill literally 52 issues, more than double what I've done on Batman so far. of pages with a story that would just turn Gotham on its head for Batman's 75th anniversary. That was the idea. It was sort of like, if we can make a story, like, this is our chance. If you're ever going to try and break the mythology or do something, crazy with Gotham, you should do it this year, right? And try, if it's true to core, but it challenges Batman in a way that's exciting and different, now's the time to take the risk. So we came up with a story together, me and him. And we proposed it to DC, and they took it. And we also said that what we want to do is bring in a bunch of writers where, instead of doing everybody, doing the sort of 5-page thing, which is a great format for other books, but for us, we thought for this story, we'd bring in a bunch of guys and let each guy do his own arc. So anyone would get to explore the corner of Gotham that excites them the most. So if you really want to show what it's like to be a night janitor at Arkham, you can do that, as long as you click the giant machinery of that crazy plot forward a little bit and bring that dreadful thing that's coming at the end, which you'll see a hint of on the very first page of the first issue. If you bring that thing a little bit closer to Batman's home, do whatever you want, as long as you're moving that big plot forward. So the fun thing was, you get to see guys like John Layman, Kyle Higgins, Tim Seeley, Ray Fox, and James Tynan explore their favorite aspects of Gotham while also turning forward this crazy bombastic plot that brings in a lot of your favorite villains. I keep forgetting who I'm allowed to say and who I'm not allowed to say, but it's new status for Selina Kyle and the Falcone family, and just up and down Penguin, and literally, like, there's somebody else in the cave. Clearly something happens to Alfred. You got everything turned on its head. Gotham martial law. You just
spoiled my entire issue.
I'm sorry. I always forget, and I'm like, yeah, sorry, dude.
No,
you're
no, I'm kidding.
The point is, the series is meant to be, for us, a celebration of all the things we love, all the nooks and crannies we don't get to explore. As we're doing kind of the biggest, craziest plot we could possibly manage that would stuff and make 52 issues feel small. So I'm really proud of it. I co-wrote the first 3 issues, and I wrote basically the overarching story sort of beats, the plot, the overarching sort of skeleton of it with James. But it's really their animal, Kyle and Tim and Ray and James. And what they're doing with it is just terrific. And you get to see some real shocking and fun storylines sort of all kind of crescendoing at the end into one huge crazy plot. So that's Batman Eternal. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah,
honestly.
we got some interior pages here from from the first issue. The cool Batmobile. With
it's always cool, the Batmobile. Yeah, and Jay Fabok is doing a great job on these issues, and then Dustin Gwynn does the next couple, and he's just incredible too. So he was like, I always draw Batman jumping down. And then we were looking at his pages. He was like, and all of them are actually Batman jumping down. It was really funny. And I was like, do I always write him jumping down?
Jay always draws him choking.
Yeah, and you get Professor Pig. We're gonna get a lot of the villains from Inc. in there. You get a lot of villains from the past that you haven't seen in a long time in there too. From the Ten-Eyed Man to all over the place. So we really want to bring in everything that you haven't seen in there in a while and shake things up.
Now, it's interesting that Scott says that he wanted to do something that's really going to shake things up. Keep that in perspective. This is the guy who gave you the Court of Owls and Death of the Family, and now 0 Year. So when he says we want to do something to shake things up, we're talking really shaking things up. Okay?
It definitely will. I mean, I don't mean it as a selling point. I mean it as, like, I know you're fans of Batman's mythology, and as sort of by way of saying, just truthfully, that's what's coming. Is this is our year to try and take big risks and change things a lot, because you want to show how enduring and powerfully sort of undefeatable Batman is as a character in general. What better way to celebrate, his anniversary, I think, than show how adaptable he is to crazy circumstances.
And speaking of big things, Scott, you want to talk a little bit about 0 Year? Who's reading 0 Year?
Yeah, sure.
Don't raise your hand, just applaud.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to say thanks for letting us do this story. This is honestly my favorite thing that we've done on Batman. I'm really proud of the other stories, but when DC said they were interested in doing a Batman origin for the New 52, I was just terrified, and I was like, well, there is one, it's year 1, and nothing will ever be able to touch the hem of that book, so, And then they were like, well, there was the implication that, well, you could always. I was worried. I'm like, well, they could always get somebody else to do it. And I'm like, no, we'll do it. We'll do it. And for me, this is really about, just to go quickly, I guess, it was really about modernizing the mythology. It was about, for me, when I read Year One, I lived in that New York, and it was suddenly Batman alive and well in the city I saw around me. And it might look familiar to you today to see him in those circumstances, but that was radically different when I read it when I was 8 or 9, you know, to see Batman in a Times Square with prostitution and drugs and gangs, and all of that was shocking. So the idea was to try and tell a story that was an inversion of Year One, where that one was gritty and grim and intimate. This would be colorful and bombastic and kind of punk rock and rebellious and huge and expansive and, you know, zany, but do it in a way where each section addresses fears now. So this section is sort of this is the reward. This section is like the thank you to you guys for letting us do everything we've done so far, where Gotham is finally in the grip of the Riddler. It's entirely post-apocalyptic. Riddler has basically disseminated Poison Ivy's research, again, this is spoilers, through this superstorm and flood, and he's turned the city into his sort of deathly playground where he controls everything electrical, and the city looks like The Last of Us, or it looks like, you know, I Am Legend. And what he's saying is, you know, he's trying to say, this is what's coming. In a few years, you know it's going to happen to island cities like this. He's like, you're going to run out of resources. You know, global warming and climate change are going to force flooding. You know, the economies are running on fumes. You got terrorism. So why don't I just do all of that to you right now, and you try and figure a way out of it, you know? And he's like, we're these pink hairless things, right? We got no fangs, no claws. He's like, the only way we've survived as a species is to adapt, and adapt by inventing things, using our brains. So he's like, I want you guys to start getting smart. So that's the law of Gotham all of a sudden, get smart or die. So it's really, really fun. This section is basically like the craziest, zaniest part that took kind of, you know, 8 issues to be able to support even getting to such an insane part of the
Here we
story.
got a couple of crazy zany interior pages as well.
Oh yeah, there's Gordon, right, with his beard. I love him with a beard. Greg Capullo, he's so funny. He's like, I'm never shaving that beard. I was like, all right, that's fine with me.
All right, I got one more page.
And that's Bruce. That's actually Bruce Wayne leaving the city because he decides he's failed twice against the Riddler and he doesn't want Batman to be a symbol of failure. Alfred convinces him, so that's him walking away. That's actually Crime Alley right there.
So that's Batman 30, and that comes out April 9th.
Yeah, that's Batman 30. Yeah, I'm really grateful to you guys for being so supportive of this story. Honestly, I know how sacred this material is, and it caused us. We were terrified doing it, but ultimately, it meant a lot to us to do. And the fact that you've let us do it and been so supportive really, really means the world to Greg and me. And as much work as it's been, and as much anxiety as it's been, it really is my favorite thing. Actually, the spread that comes right before this, it shows the city all transformed. Greg just finished it, and it took him like 2 days. It's pretty amazing, or 3 days. And this morning he sent me a text. I'll show it to you if you come to my sighting, where he's like, "This is for that spread." And I look at it, and it's this beautiful pencil of this dude dead, like shot like 30 times in the next Batman. And I'm like, wait, that's me. And it was totally me. And it's me. It's like clearly my face. Like he just killed me. And like I'm not even like dead. I'm like totally murdered, like dead, like shot all over, like the massacred. So yeah, it's been stressful, but but we love each other. And we're really, really proud of it and grateful. And I promise you, as in Batman, in terms of what's coming this year, we're going to do a small palette cleanser that's kind of like a Black Mirror detective story once we get back from this and take a breather. And then right after that, we're going to launch into, honestly, it's be a lot shorter than this. It'll be a 6-issue story, but it will probably be, you know, it'll be definitely the kind of most nuclear big thing we've done on Batman in terms of changing things around. So we want to try some really crazy stuff in Batman itself too. So I feel like I keep thinking we'll do some small quiet stuff, but then I'm like, if you're going to write, you know, I guess I just feel like you only get one chance to write a Batman ever, so you might as well, you know. And everybody has that story out there that's like, if I only got one chance to write Batman, this would be it. So if you're not doing that story each time, this is my way of apologizing for not doing like one-shots or small stories. But you know, you might as well let somebody else do that story, do their story, and move over. So yeah, it'll definitely be it will be the most game-changing thing we've done in the present coming up.
Okay.
That's it.
Speaking of big and crazy zany things, I was hoping Jeff Lemire would be here to talk a little bit about this. But this is our free comic book day entry for this year. It's called Future's End. That's leading into to another weekly book called Future's End. This is going to be some crazy stuff. It's got time travel. As you see, it has Batman Beyond in it. Everybody's favorite, Terry McGinnis. This is written by a cast of great writers. We've got Lemire, we've got Dan Jurgens, we've got Brian Azzarello, and there's one guy I'm forgetting. Keith Giffen. Oh God! Please don't tell Keith Giffen that I forgot him on this one. This is a weekly. Free Comic Book Day is May 3rd this year, so this leads into that. Again, I wanted Jeff Lemire. Well, there's the cover for the second issue, coming out a week later. Another Jeff Lemire project, Justice League United. This is really our international Justice League team. I don't want to spoil I wanted Jeff to spoil the new character we were bringing in there. But as you can see, it's a great new roster. We've got Adam Strange in there, we've got Animal Man, and they've got some firepower with Supergirl and Martian Manhunter. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It's crazy fun. He and I, we trade. You know, Jeff is like one of my best friends, and we trade all our scripts. And this book is so good, honestly. Like I'm not selling it to you. It really is. It's so much fun.
And Justice League United 0 comes out April 23rd. Did I read that right? Okay. Okay. Just look for it. There's the second cover. Batman Beyond Universe. This is one of our digital firsts that we combine into periodical form. This one's written by Mr. Kyle Higgins. Kyle, you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Batman?
Sure. So this book is a continuation, not to be confused with the Terry McGinnis that you just saw in the Future's End covers. This book is a continuation of the animated series from 1999. The whole animated universe that started in '92, and for me, like I'm sure a lot of people in this room, was a gateway drug into Batman, into comics, into superheroes, basically into all the good things in life. So the series has been, I mean, everyone talks about how much fun they're having writing, you know, whatever they're writing. And that's true. I really mean it. Not that anyone else doesn't mean it, but like I feel bad like speaking hyperbole about it, but it really is like a true passion project of mine. Return of the Joker is one of my favorite movies, and Mask of the Phantasm. And so when I got the call to launch the series, the idea was to do something a little different and kind of shake things up. And so I proposed advancing time by a year and breaking up Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne. They had a huge falling out. Terry's now in college. He and Dana aren't together. Something huge happened, and you don't know what. And I pitched the answer to that, and I saw Hank come in here a minute or two ago, and I remember pitching it to Alex, Anto, my editor, and Hank, and saying like, well, this will never go through. And Hank like approved it like pretty quick, and it's like been the thing that we've been building towards, and we're getting into it now, starting with the Justice Lords Beyond crossover. So anyone who's ever watched the show or watched the Justice League United show, there are like some big seminal episodes in like its second or third season where the Justice League crosses over into another timeline and sees the Justice Lord versions of themselves that have become evil dictators, all stemming from Superman, Lord Superman, killing Lex Luthor. So this crossover that Chris Gage and I are writing, his side of its Justice League Beyond, and my side of its Batman Beyond, is a continuation of those characters' stories as they come back into our timeline now. It's all centered on Wonder Woman. So we get into the answers about what in our world, and my side of it takes place in the Justice Lord's timeline. They send Terry over to go find their only ally, Lord Batman. So he shows up like Kyle Reese style in that universe, trying to find the answers about who this Wonder Woman who's now shown up actually is. And that's all I really want to spoil about it here, other than to say the Terry McGinnis of that universe is not like anything you would expect. And that's really the crux of the whole arc. So, and then going on from there, we get into the whole missing year and what happened. But it's probably too early to talk more about that. But it's a blast. The book's great. So, and the first chapter of it hits tonight at 9 p.m. So you can buy it on all your iOS devices, Androids, everything else. It's collected in print in like 3 weeks, I think.
April 30th.
April 3rd. But
30th.
the first April what?
30th.
April 30th. But the first chapter hits tonight. So if you check it out tonight, I'm at the show all weekend. Definitely come by. Let me know what you think. I think it's got a pretty big twist that you'll enjoy.
You know what? Now that I know all the planning and the strategizing that went into it, I feel bad. I got an interior page here. We picked it because it was kind of cute. So.
Well, actually, I can talk about that. Well, do you have the next page, or is that what do
No,
we
we
have?
just got that one.
Just that? Okay.
Oh wait. No. Here, how's that one?
Yeah. So you know what? I kind of want to just tell you what that first page is because it makes so much more sense. The cold open of the issue is who this version of Terry McGinnis is, and he's actually a member of the Jokers.
Okay then. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dan Dio, who is holding out the chair for Mr. Jeff Lemire. All right. It's really all he does.
He's my bodyguard and escort. I can't get into the escort part. It's a bit.
Okay, you know what? Let's back this up just a little bit because I want Jeff to talk about two things.
I told them all about United.
Can you tell us very, very quickly, Future's End?
Yeah, it's a weekly book I'm writing with Brian Azzarello, Keith Giffen, Dan
Yeah, they know
Jurgens, and what else? What do they want to know?
Just tell them how great it is.
It's 5 years in DC's future, and obviously everything's kind of different and changed, and we're kind of trying to figure out the landscape of the world, and we're following a cast that includes Batman Beyond, Frankenstein, Amethyst. Who else is in it?
Well, I got the cover for issue 2, which is
Yes, Grifter and Firestorm are sort of the main cast that start the series, but as it escalates and grows over a year, you'll see pretty much everyone from the DC universe.
Oh,
it's
good. Thank goodness.
Ryan
I'm glad
Sook's
you're here because I
doing
really
great
messed that
covers.
up. Well, as long as I got you.
And
Tell them the good stuff about Justice League United.
It's all good stuff. Justice League United is a book I'm really, really proud of. I've been really working hard on it and bringing the Justice League to my home country of Canada and setting up in Northern Ontario. We're introducing a brand new superheroine who was announced today. She's a teenager. She's Cree. She's from the Moose Cree First Nation in Northern Ontario, where I've spent time sort of researching their culture and their history, and they've helped me inform what this character is, and I'm quite proud of her. Her name's Equinox, and the first arc introduces her and a new version of Adam Strange and Alana Strange, and jumps between the planet Ron and Northern Ontario, and it's a big, fun adventure romp with Animal Man and Green Arrow as perfect buddy comedy. So it's good.
And we just announced Equinox today, right?
Yep.
Okay. I got issue 2, so as you see, also in issue
Yeah,
issue 2 is-
Hawkman's in it and Lobo's in it, so they're
Okay.
and they fight. Yeah.
See, aren't we glad that Jeff made it? Okay. There'll be more from Jeff later on, but we were talking about the digital stuff. Derek, who out there has read Little Gotham? Who out there has had their kids read Little Gotham?
We need more kids. Come on.
Yeah, we do need a few more kids. Tell us about how much fun Little Gotham was for you.
Little Gotham is just a crazy excuse to watch Dustin go crazy drawing these tiny little characters. We wanted to have something a little bit lighter and fun compared to all the dark stuff that you see out there. And, you know, it's a nice balance, I think. I'm reading all the great, dark Batman books that are out there, but I kind of like sort of the more lighthearted, pun-filled comedy that we were trying to put into this book. And it's a chance to sort of make a blender of all the fun stuff that Dustin and I sort of grew up liking. Batman the Animated Series, the Adam West Show, the video games, the movies. It's a little bit of everything, and a chance to use a lot of some of the villains that you don't see in the current universe that you might see on the cartoons and stuff. So you have
That's a good segue. I got some
Clock
interior pages
King
there.
and that crazy guy right there with
You're not going to see him in Batman Eternal.
That's my
There's
second
still
issue.
time. There's still time.
Okay, well, that's a good segue, the lighthearted, punny stuff, to Harley Quinn. Who out there is reading Harley Quinn? Jimmy, explain to me, when you and Amanda sit down to write a Harley Quinn, what do you drink beforehand?
Well, if we actually sat down to write, we do all the writing before we ever sit down. That's just the typing part. Well, you know, Amanda's a pretty funny person, and everything has to be her way. So that's what the book is right there. That's a. No, we're having fun with Harley. I mean, we when we got the gig, we looked at all the versions of Harley and what people liked about it, and then we decided to add our insanity to it. And right there, that guy in the chair his name is Cy Borgman, and but his spy name was Cyborg. He's based on every old Jewish man I knew in Brooklyn, and there is so much Yiddish in this comic that some parents will be very happy about it. But we're just having fun. I mean, you know, everybody loves a Harley character, and we're trying to keep the book in a place where if Amanda and I are laughing at it, we hope you guys are. That's the way we're writing it. We're writing it that if you know, we keep trying to get crazier and crazier. We were calling the book the Red Flag comic for a while around the house, but DC has been letting us do everything lately with it. So it's been going really well, and I can't see the screen too well because it's like one big slice where I'm looking at it.
Oh,
but,
sorry.
I think that's Chad Harden's line, the artwork on it, which is beautiful. But we're having fun, and it's just if you haven't seen the book, it's just a monthly insanity. You can pick up any issue, or you can read them all because they continue. But in a sense, we try to make each story a separate story in each issue, except for the ongoing stuff in the background there. But yeah, so we're having fun with it.
Yeah, well, this is issue 5, which comes
I
out
can't
April
see.
16. But in July, here I've got there you
Oh
go.
yeah,
In July, you're doing something crazy.
yeah. This is
Like
Harley
you don't do that
Quinn
anymore.
Invades Comic-Con special, and it's a double issue. It's 38 pages, and Amanda did that cover. It's pretty much Harley running through a bunch of cosplayers online for the con. And there's so much insanity in that one picture. It doesn't. I like that it's that big because it really, you can appreciate it. But we literally broke down the book that Harley arrives on Tuesday, and the book ends on Sunday, and it's pretty much Harley. It's everything you would think would happen to Harley in San Diego Comic-Con. And just to give you a little taste, she does run into a room full of cosplaying Jokers at one point. So it's one of those books that every day something insane is happening, and we actually have some celebrities that are in the comic that I won't give away, but when you read it, and I use that word in a funny way, when you see it you'll understand. But it's basically us just taking our experiences in Comic-Con. We've been going for over 20 years, and all the horrible things that have happened to us, and we worked it into this wonderful comic that celebrates the con. It really is a good celebration of the convention that we love, and it's about all cons, but obviously the San Diego Comic-Con is the monster of all cons, and I hope you like it. It's as crazy as you think it is, and it's funny because last week I did MegaCon, and we had a room full of Harleys at the Harley Quinn panel. And they all came up to us and told us, you have to do this and you have to do that. And we're like, yeah, that's in there. It's all in there. We got every crazy thing. Another little sneak is Harley's walking down the street in the Gaslight District, and a limousine full of Harley Quinn cosplayers pulls up and says, get in, we're having a party. And that's a whole other thing. So it's that kind of tone throughout the book, so hopefully you guys like it.
Okay, well now that comes out in July. Also in July, right? You've got the new project. You've got Star Spangled, the
and it's exactly what you think it is in a way. It's an eternal soldier, a guy who's been around forever. It's a very well by the cover it looks, you know, it's very bright and happy. Scott Hampton is drawing the book, and it's very dark and crazy. The idea is, the basics is that the government has paired a girl named Carmen King with a zombie soldier, and they're infiltrating groups in the United States, groups that are up for terrorism and all that kind of stuff. And so it has a very serious tone. It has a very crazy tone. If you like Walking Dead, you're going to love big sections of this book because we're fans, and there's some crazy stuff. There's a lot of zombie madness going on with a military theme. And it's something that Justin Gray and I have been working on for a while. And like I said, when we got paired with Scott Hampton, I think he's one of the finest artists in the business. We've been fans forever. And Scott definitely nails the tone of this book. By the way, it's a beautiful Howard Porter cover. Howard did that cover. But we hope you like it. It's going to be monthly, and it's, like I said, the tone is, it has a lot going on. But I will say it's, by page 11 of the first issue, if your jaw isn't hitting the ground, I don't know what's going to do it for you. That's all I'm going to say. The opening scene is one that I guarantee people are not going to see coming even a million miles away. So I hope you guys like it.
Just so you know, for every new title that that we come up with, we have to run that title through, our legal department has to run it through to make sure that there aren't any existing trademarks or anything on it. And you know, this day and age, you can't come up with anything that somebody hasn't already gotten the name for. But honestly enough, G.I. Zombie, nobody ever thought of that. It was the easiest one to run through legal.
Yeah, surprising.
And so on top of that, you've been writing Jonah Hex for about 400 years.
Yes. Yes,
And,
I guess my Jonah Hex voice is kicking in with my cold I have right now.
And Jonah's still doing well. He's still riding his horse.
He's still out there. Yeah, it looks like he's going to the moon there. I don't know what's up. Yeah, Jonah's still rolling along. He's back in the Western, back in the past, after his Booster Gold gave him a kick back to where he belongs. And with the next couple of issues, we have Jonah is while he was away, somebody's been imitating, somebody with a big scar on his face, been running around claiming he's Jonah Hex. So the next bunch of issues deals with the fact that him and Tallulah Black comes back into the series, and they're on a hunt for the guy that's impersonating him. And,
I got a Tallulah page. I got a Tallulah
page. Yeah, they have a nice, healthy romance, those two characters. So that's what's coming up in the next arc, and it's fun. If everybody has been saying, when is he going to go back to the Old West? Well, he's back. So let's see those numbers change, huh? Okay, thanks.
So this is issue 30. That's out in April. The backup story in this one is this is the backup that's drawn by Jose Garcia Lopez.
Yes, Garcia, Madam 44. It's a two-part, 10-page story by Garcia. Is the art on there, or we don't have art? Or?
No, we don't.
No, okay.
Sorry.
I can't see the screen where it's sitting. It's based on an old character nobody remembers, but we're going to make you remember it now. And it's a two-part story. Having Garcia Lopez draw it has been like a dream come true for us, because he's one of our favorite artists. And we kind of threw the story upside down. So it's about a woman whose father is killed in a landslide in a mine, and she finds a way out, but the way out leads her to another world. So it has a little science fiction twist to it. Again, it is called All-Star Western, so there is the Western part of the story, but it's definitely something different for the book. And again, once you see it, I wish we had a slide. It's just stunning. It's just beautiful stuff. So we're experimenting with the book as well.
Yeah, it's terrific artwork by Jose. We're going to switch gears a little bit now and jump to some Vertigo stuff. And I'm going to need, well, let's see. Anybody out there reading Sandman? You know what? I want, Shelley, can you come up and say a little bit about Sandman? You're working closely with Neil.
I am.
This is issue 2 that just came out.
Yeah.
With some beautiful artwork by J.H. Williams. Who has not read issue number 2 yet?
Just came out Wednesday, and it's amazing. So thrilled that Neil's back writing the origin story. And J.H. Williams is doing an incredible job. We are so psyched to have both Neil and J.H. doing this project for us. I hope you guys check it out.
That's some of the art.
Yeah, it's pretty magnificent. J.H. is known for his widescreen artwork, and he really goes to town. This issue is magnificent, and we're really psyched. It's a 6-issue series, and hope you guys enjoy it.
He's such a lazy artist, isn't he? That J.A. just sits around, gets away with anything.
Next up, we have American Vampire, and we are so psyched. Scott, so psyched that American Vampire is back.
Thanks.
What's in store for us with Second Cycle?
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to be back. Raphael and I, we had always planned on taking a break, and then we got to the midpoint, and we took the break, and then within like a week, we started talking about what we wanted to do when we got back, and then we were both really sad that we had taken a break. And I remember talking to Shelley and them being like, how short can this break be? You know, and for us, we couldn't be more excited to have it back. We pick up in 1965. If you don't read American Vampire, the series focuses on a new species of vampire, not like the Dracula kind, but a new one that's born in the American West in the 1880s, and they have all new powers. They can walk in the sun. They've got more rattlesnake kind of qualities. And what's revealed is that the Dracula kind is just one species among, hundreds or even thousands of monsters that are all kind of delineated from this one bloodline that goes back to ancient times. And so it follows this American bloodline through these different decades and this cast of characters that sort of is affected by that bloodline through different decades. And this decade, we pick up in 1965, so it's been about 10 years since we've seen them. And Pearl Jones, the two protagonists are Pearl Jones, who was a flapper, an actress in the 20s, who was turned into an American vampire by the original one, Skinner Sweet, who's this sort of crazy outlaw who was accidentally turned into one in the.
I got a Pearl Jones.
Oh yeah, that's Pearl. I love Pearl. Pearl. Actually, when I pitched the series and I pitched it. Will's here. I pitched it and it was really focused on Skinner in the pitch, and it actually didn't make it all the way through. I remember, I don't remember if it was Dan or who, but somebody was like, well, what's the first cover? It's a vampire western, but it's like, it's kind of one note. Like, what's it going to be? Like vampire, like a cowboy hat with fangs? And I was like, that's awesome. I would totally want a cowboy hat with fangs. But I went back and I desperately rewrote it because I was trying to make it clear that Pearl was going to be a big character, and I boosted her as a character and sent it back in, and it made it through. So she's always like my favorite character in the world, and I'll never do anything too horrible to her because she got me my first comic gig. She's, and there's Skinner. I love Skinner too. He's so fun to write. So they kind of represent these two different things. Like Skinner's kind of the spirit of rebellion. He's really fun to write because he's sociopathic and crazy, and Pearl's always kind of trying to do the right thing. And we pick up with them, and the country's all kind of caught in this growing storm of unrest in 1965, and she's gone home to her farm, and she's running almost this kind of secret underground railroad for different species of vampires that are good ones that she's trying to relocate. And Skinner is this crazy outlaw. He's gone back to his roots, and he's sort of he's terrorizing the cartels in the Mexican border. He sort of runs with the Hells Angels. And the series, what I'd say is ultimately they both have to learn that they can't really go home. They can't go back to the people they were before they sort of ran into each other. And this half of the series is really about taking all of the characters, all of the kind of revelations that we made about the mythology in the first half, and bringing all of them to bear in this one huge conflict where we're moving all the pieces towards the center. So we have about half the series left, but the first half was really about expansion and showing the breadth of everything, and this one's really about moving them towards this really terrifying kind of end. And the guy that's sort of the big bad guy, Raphael and I have done a lot of research for fun on different sort of cultural myths about the devil, and for us, he's sort of the very first monster. And so this half of the series, not to give too much away, really focuses on sort of the terror of that, the terror of the kind of American interpretation of the beast, of the first monster. So, and the original drop of blood that started the whole line. So I'm really, really excited about it. This is kind of the stuff we've been waiting to get to forever. And thank you guys so much for the warm welcome back. We're never going to go anywhere again at all until it's totally done. So thank you.
Well, here, don't thank him too much. You got to thank him once more for.
Oh yeah,
for the Wake.
Oh yeah.
Who out there is
Awesome.
reading the Wake?
Thanks.
This is issue 7 that just came out. Did everybody read issue 1 through 6?
Yeah, I love Dash the Sonic Dolphin. Everyone loves that Sonic Dolphin.
Is
I
everybody
get,
read
like,
issue 7? This is just out.
It just came out. Yeah, everybody is.
Issue 7.
Everybody is. I get all these like threats about if I kill Dash the dolphin, someone will kill me. But spoiler, he's fine. He will live. But yeah, this series, The Wake, it's a tremendous amount of fun. I pitched it with Sean Murphy actually a few years ago to Vertigo, and we just were waiting for the time when we'd both be free to do it. And I knew he was the guy for it, and we're very good friends outside of comics. And it focuses on the discovery of this kind of this ancient aquatic humanoid creature that's almost like a mermaid at the bottom of the ocean by this secret oil drilling team. And once they find one, all of a sudden they realize that there are thousands down there. And then in the second half, the series is divided into two halves. And what just began as the second half, where the entire world has become flooded. It takes place actually 200 years after the first half. So the series is meant to be a place where Sean and I can go and experiment. We always wanted it to be something where we were just trying things we never thought we'd get to do in storytelling. So in the next couple issues, you see, you're going to see like everything from the space shuttle repurposed to be like the sonic cannon, and ostriches made of ice that walk around, and all kind of, like anything I can think of that fits the story in some tangential way where I'm like, that could kind of work. I throw at Sean and he has a blast. So we're having a great time. It's a 10-issue series. Yeah, issue 7 just came out, and you know, the whole point of it was to be like, we want you every issue to turn the page and not know what's coming. So I can tell you this most surprising stuff is definitely coming up with it, and we're both very, very grateful. And we never expected it to have the reception it did. So we were just doing it for fun, us. And it's a very personal book to us too, is what I'd say. It's zany on the surface. On the surface, it's like a giant killer mermaid book, which is fun, you know, mixed with Waterworld. But then deep down, ultimately, it's very much about kind of both he and I, you know, wanted to do a book that's really about that sense of why we feel. You know, even when you know the facts of your own history, and you know the facts of the history of your city or even human history, you still can feel so out of place and lost and longing for things that you can't get, and why we're drawn to the ocean for some of those mysteries, you know, mythologically and folklore, that it brings us things and takes things away, and that sense of something greater being hidden down there and how it's so unexplored. So it has a lot of, it really is, it's a very and there's giant killer mermaids like that. But it's a very personal book. So the fact that you guys have received it so warmly, we both are very grateful to you. So thank you.
Yeah, that's The Wake number 7. That's out now.
Yeah, that's the one that's out now.
Oops. And now we're going to switch over. Bill, you want to tell us a little bit about Fables? This is just a tease, actually. Let's take a couple of minutes. So let's consider this a tease of Fables, because you have a Fables panel tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Tomorrow
this is
at
just a taste
7.
of when you get it. What you gonna get?
So a late panel for anyone who does not have dinner plans. What am I looking at, Larry? I can't see.
This is the cover of Fables 139, and we got some interior pages.
All right, 139. Well,
just
that's
sort of bring us up to date on where Fables is and where
139 and 140 are the boys in the band, and it's about, well, the boys in the band, boy blues band, and they go off on a little adventure because that's what happens in Fables. And one of the unforeseen results of this adventure is the complete and utter destruction of Fabletown. But it doesn't happen in the way that one usually does the complete and utter destruction in comics. It happens in kind of just the sharing of an idea. Immediately following that is the final 10-issue long culmination of Fables. Fables is gone, starting with issue 150. Issue 150 is the last issue of Fables. And the reason, did you not hear this before? I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, let's back that up and break it to them gently then.
Okay. So anyway, Fables was on the roof. That's in it. See, some of you got that. Anyway, listen. We were plotting the next big arc of Fables, and there's two things trying to decipher what the core of the series is, and it's not fairy tales alive. Although that's sort of the dressing. It's the love and try to have a family in difficult times relationship of Snow and Bigby, and that's been explored pretty well. But it's also been the on-again, off-again sibling relationship of Snow White and Rose Red. They were the best of sisters. They were bitter enemies before. There's been some forgiveness, some mistakes, some stumbles, but they've never really had it out. This final episode of Fables, or a final arc, is very much like the made-up Christmas holiday Festivus. We've had many issues about feats of strength. Now we're going to have the airing of the grievances. And it's finally like these sisters that have loved and hated each other over centuries. It just finally boils to the surface. And because these are vastly magical creatures, it boils to the surface in a big and terrible way. And then added to that is, while this happens, which would have been a crisis enough for this Fables and Exiles community, every other bad thing that could possibly have chosen to happen at that time does too. And then, as we've often done with Fables, we try and get our cast into a terrible, terrible situation, and then see if we could write our way out of it legitimately. What happened, though, is as we were putting this together, began to realize we either don't do this story or it's the last story. There was no other good choice. And I think the better choice was to do the big, bold, challenging story, and then, bid you a fawn to do.
This is going to be something.
There's really some funny parts too, though. Look, we're having a Fables panel tomorrow at 7. I hope you show up. For the first time, we will be answering questions as candidly as we can. No more, not constant joke answers. I only ask if you are of those that think that this is a good move, that it's best to end on a high note and want to give us a pat on the back for going out strong, address your questions to me. If you don't like the Fables is ending in 150 and want to air some grievances, Mark Buckingham will gladly take any question you happen to have in the Fables
I
panel.
should point out that the Brits always play the villain role in every movie, so I'm just, taking on that usual position for my country. There.
Because you're villainous, Mark. You get away with that accent. Everyone thinks you're a nice fellow, but I've seen you. Every terrible bad decision on who should die happened with him. He actually said to me once, Bill, I'm not going to try and do his accent because I can't. I cannot be charming. He says, Bill, we've got a lot of figurative literary blood on our hands with Fables. Is there any way we can actually translate into getting real blood on our hands with Fables? And, is that possible? Is there a DC deal that allows that? There is, but you actually, have to be a senior vice president of DC. So, anyway.
Yeah, Boy, I'm going to change the subject now. Bucky, talk to us about Dead Boy Detective.
For those who haven't tried reading it yet, Dead Boy Detectives is a series involving two ghost boys who are detectives, it's all in the title, that you first were introduced to way back in Sandman issue 25 when Neil Gaiman created them. Basically what we've done, they've had a number of sort of short stories and little adventures, and Jill Thompson did a book, there was the Ed Brubaker and Brian Tolbert mini-series and things like that. Well, we've now finally given them the monthly book that they deserve, and we are really sort of focusing on them, expanding their world. We've introduced them to a new character. This is a young girl called Crystal Palace Hovercraft surname, who is the manga-loving, cosplaying, video game-playing daughter of two sort of idol rock star artist parents in the UK, and basically she's doing her best to survive in the midst of this sort of celebrity world that she was born into. And she's always had a fascination with ghosts after losing one of her dear friends in her childhood. And then she finds herself suddenly thrown into the world of Edwin and Charles, and she, is obsessed and excited by them and the potential of what she can discover about ghosts and about their world. And equally, she is a modern girl, really savvy with technology, and she introduces the boys to whole new levels of detection that they were never able to do before. And the first thing she does is travel with them to St. Hilarions, which is the school where both Edwin and Charles died, and she helps them explore the reality of what happened to them, and they have lots of adventures together. And it's just a really good, fun, exciting book. I'm working with English novelist called Toby Litt, doing absolutely amazing stuff with the stories. We've had Gary Erskine working with us on the first arc. We've got the wonderful Russ Braun, who you know from Fables, working with me on a two-parter that we're doing right now, which involves portals to other worlds and lots of cats and Victorian girls and mirrors and strange stuff. And if you want to know the 7 rules of being a ghost, that's the story you need to read. And just lots of fun, exciting stuff. And then a really interesting story arc to come after that called Ghost Snow, where we're going to explore the sort of the limbo realm that exists between the living and the dead, and you're going to find out lots more about the family and the history of Charles. And it's going to be interesting because we're finally giving these boys a chance to sort of grow up a little, experience some things that they haven't before. It's a really interesting journey, and I hope you'll give it a try. I highly recommend, as soon as issue 6 is out, within a few weeks, there'll be the first trade collection in June of the first 6 issues of Dead Boys, plus the 3-parter that Toby and I did in the back of the various Vertigo anthologies. All of this collected in one great little book. So I hope if you haven't tried it yet, that would be a great jumping on point for you.
Yeah, there's the cover of issue 6. You know what? We have to go really quickly, so I feel really badly about this because Federal Bureau of Physics. Is anybody out there reading Federal Bureau of Physics? This is a terrific book. It's about physics gone awry and the real world way you have to that they try and deal with it. It's Robbi Rodriguez. It's drawn by Robbi Rodriguez, who is at the show somewhere. And so if you see him, this is some of his artwork. Just let him know how much we love the book. Anybody out there reading Trillium? Jeff is going to give you a haiku about Trillium because that's how much time we have.
Last issue Wednesday.
Trillium. We have to wrap it up. Okay, you know what? We have to wrap it up. I'm sorry, we're running a little long. I will point out though that we're going to blame the Marvel girl there. We're going to talk about bodies at the a new Vertigo property. We'll talk about that the panel tomorrow. But I do want to say that the trades for Coffin Hill, Hinterkind, and Federal Bureau of Physics, they're all going to be $9.99. They're coming out in the spring. If you haven't jumped on these series, this is the time to do it. Okay? Thank you all again. Sorry we ran a little long. But thank you to our panelists, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
I'm going down to sign now at the DC booth. Okay. Yeah, sure. Yes. What are you doing tonight? You had a conversation. Yeah, I don't know.
I was going to say, what I liked is the fact that unlike some of the other sort of visual access panels, we actually all had a chance to say a little bit more.
shall bestow a gift on the child.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she will fall into a sleep-like death.
Curious little beastie. Bring her to me.
I know you're there. Don't be afraid.
I'm not afraid.
Then come out.
Then you'll be afraid.
All the other fairies fly. Why don't you?
I had wings once. They were strong. They were stolen from me. There is evil in this world. Hatred and revenge.
I call on those who live in the shadows. Fight with me now!
Is it true? You're next.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, Michael's on here, James is on here, so I figured we could have you moderate. Yeah, why not? Just kidding. I'm just joking. What? Yeah, you're moderating, right? Yeah,
Cool. I'll do it with sign language.
Yeah, good.
And
Have Eric moderate.
I'm just really happy you just woke up.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, really, that's definitely the thing. I get it, man. That's really smart.
Glad to be here.
Oh, yeah.
Eric, I wasn't listed on there though, so
Yeah,
there's
right?
probably not one for
Slow
me.
going.
Okay. Michael, you just want to be.
Yes. Hi. That's me, yes. Thank you.
Right here. Thank you.
Paul's not here yet. Yep. Thank you.
We can put him
Whatever seat's available.
Oh, is there?
Nope, just a discussion.
Candy dishes up here?
Oh, it's so dim.
Hey, do you want some candy?
Oh boy.
Strawberry ones are really sweet.
Put your phones on silent, boys.
I want our phones to be nice
There
and
you
loud.
Wait, James?
That scares the crap out of me. These half unopened with like Halloween candy. You're taking the life.
No worries.
You know what?
You live life on the edge.
You actually should have one from me from the noon panel. Yeah, the Batman panel.
So just let us more.
Oh, can we use
All of Terra.
That away. I like that.
This is
Use the whole
just gonna take
palette.
That's
Yes, they were tossing them.
That's a
It's gonna be
hedgehog
like
play,
when they ask you a
James.
question.
Give me a few minutes. I have this weird candy in my mouth.
Can't see.
It's shaped like strawberry, but tastes like cantaloupe.
I can never tell. Is it watermelon?
I don't know.
'Cause
Like,
looks
it tastes like watermelon.
And it seems like strawberries.
It
Suitcase.
tastes like watermelon, but it says strawberry. Wait,
I always thought it tasted like watermelon. No, it's strawberry.
Hey, how's it going?
it tastes like watermelon.
But I had never.
All right.
Not yet. We're just waiting.
All right.
One more.
Say what
I'll moderate from here. I guess. Yeah.
That was a long shot.
Nailed it.
if Eric was here, he's there.
What's up, buddy?
You know everything.
How's that voice doing? Do we have enough chairs?
Yeah, we have such a easy response. I just want to like jam all the time. It's like a button. It's like a riding
I like that. Throw on some headphones, maybe.
Oh, do you want to see Olympic?
Yeah, we're going to do a Frasier trivia session.
You're funny.
We'll be good.
Yeah, for all you Frasier fans out there.
Win Ben Stein's money, but like Frasier questions, and you don't get any money.
Oh yes.
And it's me. And not Ben Stein.
So it's win Eric Harbur's respect.
Yeah.
No, it's
You would
lose,
remind
it's
me
lose
of that.
Eric Harbur's respect.
Done.
Everyone starts at 100%.
Yeah. So let's kick this off. Let's get it going. We're also going to have Paul Jenkins here at some point. I'm sure Paul will come in fashionably late and be incredibly disruptive. So we'll see him soon.
Yeah, you'll know when he's here. He'll be a very loud British man making jokes. So.
Yep. So you're here for the Editing Comics the Boom Way panel. If you're in this room, you probably are interested in sort of the behind the scenes of comics, how these things are made, or maybe you're interested in creating your own comics. And so we'll be having a discussion today about all of those things. So I'm going to do some introductions real quick. First and foremost, my name is Matt Gagnon. I'm the editor-in-chief of Boom Studios. To my left is Bryce Carlson, managing editor of Boom Studios. To his left is James Tynan IV, writer for Boom in DC. And to his left is Michael Morisi, writer